So the Bitcoin ETFs currently hold over 1 million Bitcoin, but what's more interesting is 155,000 Bitcoin have been ripped off the exchanges in the past month alone. Does this have anything to do with Saudi Arabia supposedly ending their petrodollar agreement with America? I don't know, but we're going to try to get to the bottom of this story in today's video. We're going to start off with the chart that was on the thumbnail of today's video. This is our favorite chart. We talk about it nearly every week here on the channel, measuring the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges. You can see in 2020, this number peaked out at about 3.1 million Bitcoin. Today, depending upon what metric or what data provider you are using, this number is around 2 million. The chart we're looking at today is sitting at about 2.2 million coins. So that indicates that around 1 million Bitcoin have left exchanges since 2020. Okay, again, 2020 was that inflection point where we started to see that big macro trend change. And for the first time in Bitcoin's life, coins started leaving the Bitcoin exchanges. Okay, so we can see that we've been in a macro downtrend for the past 4 years, but have a look at the big red box I've circled here on the right-hand side of the chart. We've seen 155,000 coins leave the exchanges, and many people are asking the exact same question that Den Lass is asking in the comments. Why is the price moving down? What's happening with the Bitcoin price? Is Bitcoin broken? For those who have missed it, let me pull up the chart of Bitcoin. Didn't actually plan on showing this today, but Dan asked the comment, so we're going to deliver. We can see the Bitcoin price is trending down. I think it's important to note this because everybody's seen all of these Bitcoin leave the exchange. We're seeing all of these Bitcoin ETF flows increase recently once again over the past 2 weeks, but price isn't really increasing. We can see that Bitcoin's actually been rejected at this $71,000 level like 5 times now, okay? Again, I'm not entirely convinced that ETF flows and Bitcoin on exchanges have any relationship with the price of Bitcoin in the short term, okay? I think in the medium to the long term is where we do see some sort of relationship with the price. Again, we're not trying to predict the price. We don't care where the price of Bitcoin is going to go. We're just kind of having a look at what is happening in the world as we kind of trend towards hyper-Bitcoinization. But I think the most important relationship to have a look at with these ETF flows is kind of the medium term, okay? So when the Bitcoin ETFs launched, we knew that the Bitcoin price was about $42,000, $43,000. Today, we're sitting at $66,000, and everybody's worried that the price of Bitcoin has crashed and it's boring, and we've been going sideways for the past 3 months. But we're up by, what's that, about 35%, 40% in only 4 months now. Okay, so again, I think this is bullish. This is fine. It is perfectly natural for Bitcoin to consolidate. While we are talking about just how big those ETF flows have been recently, have a look at this big, massive price spike on this chart. I might try to blow it up, make it as big as I can for you guys. But you can see last week, we actually talked about this in an earlier video. You can see that there was 12,600 Bitcoin bought in a single day last week. This was the second largest daily buy that we've seen from the Bitcoin ETF since they launched in January, okay? To put a little bit of context on that, that's about 28 times the daily supply of Bitcoin that is mined every day. Around 450 Bitcoin are mined each day. And yes, the ETFs bought, 12,600 in 1 day last week. So everybody's confused. Why is the price of Bitcoin not pumping? Well, in a video over on my personal channel on the weekend, we actually had a look at the Bitcoin basis trade, okay? Again, I'm not going to bore you guys. The summary and the TLDR of that video is what we're seeing is a lot of inflows into these Bitcoin ETFs from the hedge funds, okay? The hedge funds are buying Bitcoin, okay? But they're doing it by, playing these fiat games with the basis trade, okay? So what they're doing is they are shorting Bitcoin in the futures markets and they are buying Bitcoin in the spot market all through the Bitcoin spot ETFs because that is probably a product they are more familiar with. And what they're doing is they're actually collecting a 9% annualized yield through playing these fiat games, okay? So this is I think the best explanation for why the price of Bitcoin is going sideways, okay? Everybody is kind of really confused why we're not seeing number go up while we have such large inflows. But again, I might try to show you the chart that everybody is looking for. This is the chart that Zero Hedge put out of the huge record short position going on in the Bitcoin futures market. So uh, I tried to do my best to find the chart for you guys, but I couldn't find it. So there's the thumbnail anyway. So you can see the Michael Saylor head and the big short squeeze. The big red bars are at the highest level they've ever been. So that's showing that we have like an $18 billion short position on Bitcoin. So we've got like $18 billion in the futures markets, in the CME futures market that are short Bitcoin. But we're seeing all of these inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs. So again, I think we kind of have a little bit of a balancing act going on right now. We're seeing all of these inflows into the ETFs, but I think this is due to the basis trade. I hope that explains your question there, Dan Lass. I apologize if it wasn't the best. I think Rexona has a great comment here. I like Bitcoin staying at lower prices. Gives us a chance to buy more Satoshis. Could not agree more. I'm absolutely loving the, these cheap prices, and I think it could be. I don't know where the price of Bitcoin is going to go in the short term, but I think buying Bitcoin in the $60,000 range today, in 5 years' times, or even 2 years' time, I think it could be something that you will certainly not regret doing. So Time Pass says here, when halving effect. Well, typically Bitcoin actually takes a little while to get going after its halving events. If I were to show you what I mean on the chart, which I again didn't plan on showing you guys today, so just bear with me for just a couple of seconds so I can quickly draw a chart for you guys. But these vertical lines are the Bitcoin halvings. We have a halving in 2012. We have a halving in 2016. We have a halving in 2020. And you guys can see that the price doesn't immediately moon the month after the halving. Typically, it takes a couple of months for this halving effect to kind of digest a little bit, circulate its way around the system, and it's like a very gradual supply suffocation. But what's interesting about this halving is we have a halving, and we also have coins flying off the exchanges. So this here is a different chart, a different data provider. This is CoinGlass's chart. So the numbers are slightly different to Glassnode by the looks of things, but you can see very similar data to what we're talking about. We can see 2.7 million Bitcoin sitting on exchanges in January this year. And we can see today around 2.45 million. Okay. So that's probably about 300,000 Bitcoin have been ripped off the exchanges since those ETFs have gone live. Okay. So again, we are watching a supply suffocation, which is very, very interesting. Even the OTC desks are seeing a supply suffocation. Again, it's very difficult to get the exact data on how many Bitcoin is sitting in these OTC desks, but you can see the trend is clear across all of the data providers. The trend is down and to the right. The amount of Bitcoin on exchanges or OTC desks is declining. Wade makes a great comment here. Bitcoin University did do a great video explaining the basis trade in really good detail. He even had a look at these numbers that we're looking at right now regarding the amount of Bitcoin that have come off the exchanges. And Bitcoin University even analyzed how much of the Bitcoin is locked up in this basis trade. Okay, so yes, we might have even 100,000 Bitcoin locked up in the basis trade, but we can see that we have over 300,000 Bitcoin leaving the exchanges, and we have net 400,000 Bitcoin flowing into these Bitcoin ETFs. Okay, again, everybody knows just recently that the Bitcoin ETFs actually crossed 1 million Bitcoin. So this is a chart I had prepped for you guys. So 34 Bitcoin spot ETFs hold over 1 million Bitcoin. Okay. But again, what we need to remember is Grayscale already had around 619,000 Bitcoin before the ETFs went live this year. So we've seen around, 400,000, 300 to 400,000 new Bitcoin taken off the market since the ETFs have launched. And even in the most bearish scenario, assuming the basis trade is happening today, you could not paint a situation where there is more than 150,000 Bitcoin locked up in the basis trade. Okay. So even if you assume there's a ton of hedge funds shorting Bitcoin and they're all doing this in the basis trade, we still have ETFs scooping up at least 100 or 200,000 Bitcoin off the exchanges, which is why I think all of these charts look the way they do. The coins are flowing to the strong hands, guys. Okay. Now, speaking of the strong hands, there are a whole lot of strong hands in Prague this week for what is going to be the biggest Bitcoin conference in Europe. Okay. Again, I want to play a quick little video for you guys. This is like 15 seconds that we posted on our Twitter for you guys to check out. Pretty cool, snazzy little video. So I might play it for you guys. It's showing you what goes into the biggest Bitcoin conference in Europe. A few tickets are still available, apparently. If you guys are in Europe or Prague, you want to come say good day, come and talk some Bitcoin with me. Again, get your tickets. You can see they're linked below underneath this tweet here. And you can come say good day in Prague. I think it's going to be a really big conference. Should be thousands of Bitcoiners there. Should be absolutely massive. We actually have... some pretty, I'm not going to reveal too much for you guys, but we have a ton of really, really good content planned for you guys in Prague. We're going to be interviewing someone we've interviewed on the channel before, but someone who I haven't interviewed yet. Okay, so again, I'll let you guys have a little bit of fun speculating who we may be interviewing with Prague. It's going to be a big one though, and I'm really, really excited to bring that one to you guys. So stay tuned for that. And again, I might even bring up the YouTube channel to let you guys have a little bit of a guess, having a look at prior interviews. So we've interviewed some big names in the space. We've interviewed we've interviewed Larry Lepard, big old Freddy Krueger, Giovanni, the creator of the power law theory, British Hodl, Preston Pish, Samson Mao, and we have lots of other older interviews as well. So I'll let you guys have your guesses. Again, actually, this is probably an interesting time to mention this. A lot of people think that, for Bitcoin to hit $1 million, we have to see this Mad Max environment. We have to see hyperinflation, the world to melt down, and the banking systems to collapse. But I personally don't think so. So recently made a video over here on the Bitcoin News YouTube channel, and I said why we don't need the world to break to see $1 million Bitcoin. Okay, if you guys missed that video, we posted 2 days ago. Recommend you guys check it out. It's up on screen, as you can see. It is the most recent video we made. So recommend you guys checking it out. And with all that said, guys, thank you so much to everyone who joined. Dan Lass, the Cold War 2.0 will be the off-ramp. The off-ramp, I am assuming you mean. I agree. I think it will be an off-ramp. And Wade, thank you so much for the kind words. I really, really appreciate it. The Bitcoin network needs building, and everybody here on the live stream is helping to build it. So thank you so much for your support. We all really, really appreciate it. And with all that said, guys, going to end this live stream here, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream.